You beautiful people of the internet, how are you guys doing today? Hopefully great. So Dante is our newest frame, aka the Harry Potter of Warframe. I can't wait for Harry Potter Prime to be released. This video has been sponsored by Digital Extremes. Huge thanks to them for this opportunity. I really do appreciate it. I'm sure you guys know how Dante works, so I'm just going to skim through everything. Alright, starting off with this passive. So he has a grimoire called Noctua, which is an exalted weapon, but more details on that later. Noctua scans the target, recalling all information on the enemy, which is great for the simulacrum. For every enemy you fully scan, you'll gain a 50% increase to your status chance. His first ability, called Noctua, is an exalted ability whereas you summon your book, but it will only drain your energy if you fire a shot. Shots fired will inflict a slash onto the enemy with some solid base stats. The grimoire will also come with a secondary fire mode, which is a mini arc of plasma. You bet it has radiation and punch through. Apparently the secondary fire has infinite punch through and a 1.4 meter against solid surfaces, or surfaces in general. Source? Trust me bro, I'm just joking. Most of this information that I spit out these days, I always go and consult Warframe Wiki. Sometimes Warframe Wiki can be wrong, but it's the only form of information I can get these days. But yeah, those are the stats. His second ability, called Lightverse, gives you Overguard, which increases your maximum health. This ability is important to Dante as it serves as your only way of survival, because while casting the ability you are given invincibility frames. Overguard can absorb the hits, and once it breaks you'll be given even more invincibility frames. To top things off even further, you are able to recast Lightverse again, therefore restoring your Overguard, therefore resetting the invincibility frames. Next up we have his third ability, called Dark Verse. Basically Dante draws a giant X in the air, inflicting nearby enemies with slash procs. This is based on line of sight, and that's really all this ability does. You can just spam it and just bleed the enemies to death in the area of effect. As long as you can see them, they will die. Now his fourth ability is a little complicated. You have to cast 2 verses in order to use your fourth. Let me explain. So your Light Verse, which is your second ability, then your Dark Verse, which is your third ability. Casting one of the 2 verses in a particular order will unleash different abilities. So if you cast your third ability twice, then your fourth, you'll get Tragedy. Casting both your second and third ability, then hitting your fourth ability, you will be casting Page Flight. Casting your second first, then 3, you'll get War Warden. Moving on to our build, we are prioritizing strength, range and efficiency. You know your typical nuke build. Now this build is pretty strong, but because I'm known for no Forma builds, here it is. For strength we are using Augur Secrets, Blind Rage and Intensify. For range we have Stretch and Augur Reach. The more range, the bigger the area of effect. For our aura, I have recommended Corrosive Projection. If you want to build to scale a little bit further, go right ahead. Now before I continue, before I get those comments about my build, hear me out on this. I know you can just go and add certain abilities, but I do not like to go and copy other creators. I prefer to come up with my own builds. That is that, and also I can keep content fresh. Alright, so we're currently in the simulacrum, and of course I will be demonstrating how this particular build will work. So for starters, we're going to talk about damage reduction. So we're going to cast our 2, cast it again, hit our 4th. As you see, we've got a lot of Overguard. Wait for it to run out. Again, just cast it. As you guys can tell, we're just surviving. And for some strange reason, they just stopped firing. I think it's because the enemies are shocked. So once again, we can just keep casting it and never ever worrying about dying whatsoever, because once again, invincibility frames are always on our side. And as you guys can tell, the more we cast it, and if we still have remaining, we can just keep getting bigger and bigger numbers. And because of thanks to Arcane Steadfast, we never ever have to worry about a lack of energy whatsoever. So that's the damage reduction I was talking to you guys about. So once again, Light Verse twice and then hit your 4th. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys exactly how this build works when it comes to nuking an entire room. Now bear in mind, I know that there's lots of enhancements I can do to make this build a lot more potent, but at the same time I just like to go and create my own content. I also am quite pressed for time these days, so you know, I can't always find out the best one, but hey, I try and keep my content fresh. I don't like to go and copy other content creators and all of that fine stuff, even though the game doesn't really have too much, you know, alternatives to it. But hey, anyways, going on with the build. So we know exactly how Lightverse works. Let me show you guys exactly how to nuke a room. So this is called Darkverse, and simply all you want to do is just hit the enemies with your slash and then finalize your ability with your fourth. Doing so, most of the enemies should be dead. Of course, you'll always have one or two stranglers. So once again, to finish them off, simply hit them once again, finalize your ability, and boom, they are all dead. And that's really about it. Ladies and gentlemen, I make some pretty awesome Warframe content, so if you guys would like to go from 0 to hero as fast as humanly possible, I highly suggest you guys go and take a look at the rest of my videos. There'll be some links down in the description. Also do take a look at the top right. There should be some cards up there with some recommendations, so do also take a look at those. Do remember to leave a like on this video, it always helps me out substantially. Spartan, click the subscribe button for more Warframe videos and streams. We also do have a Discord server. There will be a link down in the description. Up make like a banana and split.